one of the biggest news, and it was, I guess some liberal organizations were saying it was a nothing burger, the Durham Report. So the liberals said it was a nothing burger. The Durham Report is out. It's a nothing burger, they said, because what the end result of the Durham Report is, Trump is not a Russian agent. Jacob, we'll start with you. The collusion plot and everything that they said, it was nothing. It was a complete fabrication. What we do know, though, is that there are several leaders, including the FBI and the CIA, but from Obama to Biden to Loretta Lynch to Hillary Clinton, all knew this was a hoax, all knew this was a lie, and they allowed it to go against a elected president. This is huge. I mean, we're not talking about some small report. It took some time to put together, plus a lot of millions of dollars to be put together. But what do you make of the Durham Report? I read most of it, or at least a big part of it.
Okay,
but
first of all, what
it's
the
pretty
Durham
crazy.
Report does is simply, to my mind, confirms what the Mueller investigation established. That's all. You have a corrupt FBI, the Federal Bureau of Intimidation, or the filthy Bureau of Intimidation, something that needs to be abolished. It's not a national security agency. It's not a legitimate law enforcement agency or an investigation agency. It is a political police force, a Gestapo. The FBI, knowing that it was a forged dossier, paid for by the Clinton campaign, went and got a FISA warrant. And you had the lying hags on The View, you know, those ridiculous women that lie all the time. You had the left-wing media and Rachel Maddow and Chuck Todd and all the usual chorus line of professional liars, the voice of the swamp, you know, what the Russians call TASS and Izvestia and Pravda, we call the Washington Compost, the CNN, the mainstream media, etc., and the New York Slimes. Same thing. They continued to report this as if it was a fact. Now, Mueller said it wasn't. The only thing that the Durham Report has shown is what Alan Dershowitz said. There is significantly more reason to have indicted Hillary Clinton than Donald Trump if she wasn't indicted. Or why was Podesta and Trump, why were they not, and Clinton not indicted? Why not? And now we find it involves Barack Obama, Coretta Lynch, who was a corrupt. She met with Bill Clinton when his wife was under investigation.
Yeah, on the tarmac. At the plane. Yeah,
you know, she's a corrupt woman. She should have been indicted. And obviously, the usual cast of liars, like John, what's his name, from the CIA.
James Comey.
John
Brennan.
Yeah, John Brennan. These people were all in on it. They were all in on it. But don't expect any indictments. Don't expect a single indictment. There's no justice. There's no democracy. There's no fair media coverage from the mainstream media. Fox is now, of course, compromised. Don't expect anything. They're not going to indict Clinton. They're not going to indict Podesta. They're not going to indict John Benham. They're not going to indict King. They're certainly not going to go after Barack Obama. Instead, they will bring a fabricated indictment against Donald Trump, who, by the way, I personally do not support to be president again. But he should certainly not be under any kind of indictment by Bragg, a man who lets criminals go free to other felonies, even murder, with a manufactured charge against Trump. Where does it say that even if it was hush money, you are obligated to report it to the public if it is part of a settlement? It's just a ridiculous charge that's just invented. And meanwhile, he's letting murderers go. This is how corrupt and ridiculous it is. But nations get the leaders they deserve, and states get the leaders they deserve. Anybody who votes Democrat in San Francisco or Chicago or New York who gets murdered, you're only getting what you voted for. Don't whinge when they're sticking the knife in your throat. That's what you voted for. I think it's terrible, but it's what you voted for. It's poetic justice. That's what these people voted for, their own destruction, and that's what they're getting in these states.
I mean, they're literally willing to tear the country apart just to go after one man. Ken, what do you think of the Durham Report? I mean, pretty indicting. I mean, they might as well call it Obamagate because he is at the very center of this.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking, and that's exactly who's. Remember, every time I see Biden, people, say stuff about Biden, I think of Obama when he said, I look for the earphone in my ear and I'm speaking and the president will be reacting. And I just look at everything that goes back to when he was involved with the 216, just the whole thing. So it's really nuts. I mean, we live in times where you can't, and it's one thing after another. It's one thing after another. It's crazy.
It's one crisis after another.
Crisis after another. Yep.
Hey, David, is that why people don't react to it anymore? I mean, they just get slammed by one wave after another. It just seems like they're overwhelmed and people just want to be left alone. Most people don't even care, don't even know what the Durham Report is. And it's one of the biggest things that we can possibly see in our nation of the corruption that goes deep into the FBI, CIA, obviously the president, Obama, and all the stuff that they were doing.
Yeah. I remember when Biden got elected, my father and I talked about the Durham Report and Mr. Durham. And I told him then, I said, no one's going to jail for this. It goes back to the Democrats' first example of ruling, and that's Andrew Jackson from the state of Tennessee. He had a Republican Congress, a Republican Senate, and they would pass rules and they could even override his veto. But he said, let's see them enforce the laws. And the Democratic Party is lawless and they're just doing whatever they want to create their goals. It's not anything lawful and they don't care. They're just killing and destroying this country. And like you've said many times, Marco, it's dividing us. There is a dividing line coming. We're seeing it from the North and the South and from the liberals to the conservatives. And states are having laws in one place that are diametrically opposite in liberal states. And so I believe these are their policies, is to just bring about the downfall of a republic. Benjamin Franklin asked early on he was asked, what did we have when the government? And he said, we've given you a constitutional republic if you can hold on to it. Democracy means mob rule. It's kind of what you're seeing right now. They're doing what they want to do, mob rule, and they don't take and protect the minorities. And the blacks are seeing this in Chicago, saying, oh, these guys are going to put in non-citizens to vote and they're going to take away our power. This is what those people were in an area. I used to run a food program down there. And now you can't even go down there. The people hide. So it's a terrible, terrible thing to see what's happening. And like I said last week, I've given up hope. I'm looking for Jesus to come, man. It's the only solution. The government is. I don't mean to be such a downer, but I'm looking for the government to be on his shoulders. So that's what I'm looking for, because I don't know what can turn it around. Now, if we were to get a decent president and maybe at least keep one of the House or the Senate, we could at least maybe get another respite for a few years. But without the presidency, it'll just be more of the same.
More chaos.
U.S. taxpayers spent $6.5 million on the Durham Report, and it is an exercise in futility.
Yep.
There's going to be nothing coming from that investigation. So just let's comprehend that. We spent $6.5 million so that we could know what we already knew.
Yeah.
Yep.
Adam Schiff from this state said he had proof. He had talked to people. He had unbelievable proof. He said that Trump was a Russian agent. He had proof. He couldn't say it because it was under investigation, but he had the proof. Comes to nothing. I mean, this guy should be in prison. I mean, it's sedition. He lied, and it's sedition. And all these people are committed sedition against the same president.
Stupid enough to vote for him. There will be people who will be stupid enough to vote for a proven liar. They get what they deserve. This crime, this murder that's happening in these cities, it's terrible, but it's reaping the fruit of their own actions.
I mean, they're not going to jail, but you got this guy in Florida. He goes under the name Ricky Vaughn, who made a meme about election, and he's facing 10 years for making a meme, just making fun of the way the elections are, just posting it that, hey, this is kind of how it works. And I think everyone probably here of us have joked about the fact that, some of the stuff that happens in elections is pretty funny. But he made a meme about it. He's facing 10 years. 10 years for a meme, and yet Adam Schiff, I think that Jay told me he's running for senator now. So, what a world!
Of California,
yeah,
and he'll get in.
He might, he might just get in. Ken, what a crazy world! You make a meme, and I know you're familiar with memes.
I'm familiar with memes. I'm known as the meme lord on Twitter. Well, not anymore. I got kicked off of Twitter, the first one, for making a President Trump meme, and that just shows you. Yeah. So for the 2020 election, I was just doing and it was just a funny meme, and then it offended everybody, and I got kicked off. So I kind of experienced that with the Twitter. I'm not experiencing. Nobody's showed up to my door yet. I'm looking right now. I don't see anybody at my door. So I'm hoping, but that's crazy. 10 years. That's crazy.
I mean,
when the FBI, Marco, is obstructing Congress.
Yeah.
The FBI is literally obstructing Congress, where Clinton is not going to be indicted despite the Durham Report, nor Podesta, nor Brennan, nor certainly not Obama. None of them are even going to be indicted. But some guy is looking down the possibility of 10 years for putting up a meme that the Democratic Party doesn't like.
Yeah.
Stalinism. And this Garland, I mean, I understand why God created hell when I look at the person of Merrick Garland.
Yes.
I think there's one verse in the Bible I'd correct. Jesus said hell was a place made for Satan and his angels. I think we need to check the manuscripts.